All right, let's dive into a topic that's incredibly important but often flies under the radar. We're talking about emotional blackmail, a really powerful, kind of invisible form of control that can show up in our closest relationships. It's this subtle manipulation that can leave you feeling totally trapped. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how it works and, most importantly, how you can start to break free.
So first up, let's really get clear on what we mean by this invisible cage. What exactly is emotional blackmail?
I want to start right here with this question because it gets to the absolute heart of what this feels like. You know that sinking feeling when someone asks for something and every part of you screams no, but you just know the emotional fallout is going to be a nightmare to deal with? You feel completely cornered, like there are no good options.
Well, that feeling, it has a name: emotional blackmail. Psychotherapist Susan Ford really defined this for us. It's a powerful manipulation tactic, but it's not about obvious threats. It's about someone close to you using your own emotions, your fear, your sense of obligation, your guilt, as levers to control you and get exactly what they want.
I bet you've heard phrases just like these before, right? They are textbook examples. If you really love me, that one weaponizes your love, basically making it conditional. And after all I've done for you, that just heaps on the obligation and makes you feel like you're in their debt. These phrases are designed to put you on the back foot, making it seem like giving in is the only way to prove you're a good, loyal person.
So what makes this so effective? Well, it all comes down to a really dense, disorienting fog they create in our minds. And believe me, that fog is way more than just a metaphor. The manipulator literally clouds your judgment with this thick fog, making it almost impossible to think straight. And fog is actually an acronym for the three emotions they prey on: fear, obligation, and guilt. First up, F is for fear. We're talking about the fear of being abandoned, fear of their anger, fear of a huge fight, or just the fear of losing their approval. The blackmailer knows your specific fears, and they use them to create a threat. If you don't do what they want, something you're really scared of is going to happen.
Next, O stands for obligation. Look, we all feel a sense of duty to the people we care about. That's normal. But a manipulator twists this. They make you feel like you're responsible for their happiness, their entire well-being. It creates this dynamic where you feel like you owe them whatever they ask for, no matter what you need.
And finally, G is for guilt. This one is maybe the most powerful tool they have. The manipulator will hint, or just say it outright, that you not doing what they want is selfish, or that you're hurting them. They make their unhappiness your fault, and the only way to fix it, of course, is to give in.
Okay, this is so crucial to understand. Emotional blackmail is almost never a one-time thing. It's a repeating cycle. Once a blackmailer figures out that this fog tactic works on you, they're going to use it again and again and again. Let's break down these 6 predictable stages of this pattern.
So this cycle pretty much always unfolds in these 6 stages. It kicks off with a demand, something that benefits them, usually at your expense. Naturally, you show some resistance. And that's when they turn up the heat with pressure, usually laying on the guilt. If that doesn't work, they escalate to emotional threats. At this point, you're overwhelmed, so you give in. That's compliance. And the brief moment of peace you get from that leads to the final, most important stage: repetition. They've just learned that this tactic works, and the whole cycle starts over, often even stronger next time.
So as we've seen, that cycle is pretty consistent. But the way manipulators apply the pressure can actually look pretty different. Susan Ford identified 4 distinct styles or faces of emotional blackmailers. Figuring out which type you're dealing with can be a game changer for how you respond.
Let's quickly break down these 4 types. First, you've got the punisher. They're direct, they're aggressive, their anger is their weapon, and the message is crystal clear. Do what I want or I'll make your life hell. Then there's the self-punisher. They turn the threats inward, making you responsible for preventing their pain. Think dramatic lines like, "I'll just die if you leave me." Third is the sufferer. They are masters of passive aggression, always playing the victim and making you feel like their misery is all your fault. And last, you've got the tantalizer. They dangle a reward, promising you exactly what you've always wanted, but only if you do what they say first. So, we've defined the problem, we've decoded the FOG, and we've identified the different types. Now for the most important part of this whole conversation. How do you break the cycle? And the good news is, you absolutely can. It's all about shifting the dynamic and taking back your power. Breaking free really requires a conscious strategy.
First, you've got to recognize the pattern we've been talking about. Then, you have to start setting clear, firm boundaries. Just practice saying no calmly. When they inevitably escalate, you have to not engage with the threats. State your decision and stick to it. It is also so important to seek support because this stuff thrives in isolation. And finally, if the behavior is really severe, you might have to consider creating distance to protect your own well-being.
I want you to just let this one sink in for a minute. This is the fundamental truth. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and care, not on fear, not on obligation, and not on guilt. Holding on to this idea is like your anchor when you're trying to navigate through that thick fog.
And to wrap this all up, I'm going to leave you with a question to really think about. Because it's not just about understanding the idea, it's about putting it into practice. So think about it. What's one small, totally achievable boundary you can set this week to protect your own peace? That right there, that's your first step to breaking free.